Hi guys, HikVision here. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how to install HikVision CCTV like a pro. So let's get started. First off, we're going to be putting the camera NVR or DVR next to this customer's TV. The camera is literally going to be going straight outside where those ladders are, so I know that we need to drill our hole somewhere in here. So you can see we've got sockets here. Always be aware before drilling of any cables or pipe work that there could be. I know that these cables go straight up. Yours might go down or to the side. Just be cautious. Right, so I'm going to hope to drill roughly around this area here. Next up, we're going to jump outside, make sure there's nothing on the outside wall that we don't want to be drilling into. So let's jump out there. Right guys, this is the outside of the property. We're going to be drilling through this wall here, in this corner. The camera's going to be going straight up. Ignore that one. We're going on to soffit height today, just next to that camera there. And we're going to use some PVC piping to come straight down the wall, as opposed to just tacking the cable. So now that we know there's nothing in the way of me drilling, we're going to get our SDS drill and make a hole through the wall. Right, so a few tools that we're going to need for the job. We've got ourselves some Holesaws, preferably a 22mm for your PVC pipe that's going to go into the soffit, and then anything from a, say, 40mm or so, 50mm for the camera itself. We've got ourselves some wire cutters, some RJ45 crimpers, some tape. More importantly, we've got ourselves some cable feeding rods. So these will help us push a cable through a wall, as opposed to just pushing a cable through. You'll never get it through. This gives you something sturdy to push through that hole. Guarantees the cable through every time. We've got a hammer. We've got ourselves a 10mm drill piece if you're doing more than one camera. Today we're just going to be using this tiny one just for one single cable. Impact driver, normal hammer drill, and our SDS for the big drilling. We've then got some PVC saddles. So this is what's going to sit on the wall, like so, and that's going to hold our PVC. We've then got a termination box, and that is going to be the termination of our PVC, where the hole is then going to go through. And obviously PVC at the back there, 20mm. That's the smallest they do 25, but we don't need 25mm for just one cable. Some of you might not want to use PVC at all. Some of you might just want to tap the cable along the wall with some cable pins. You can do that, but we don't recommend it. The main benefit of using PVC is it keeps it secure and neat, so nobody can just snip the cable or pull it off the wall. Right then, let's grab our SDS drill, our long 420mm drill piece, and we'll drill from the inside out to roundabouts here. Right guys, so we're back inside now. We're going to be drilling our hole here in the corner, straight through to the outside. Right, so outside, the holes come through quite nicely, just here. So we know now that our PVC piping is going to follow this line here, going straight up all the way to the soffit. So we're going to quickly just drill some holes into this brickwork for the PVC saddles. I'm not going to show you the full PVC process, very straightforward. The only thing I will say is make sure when you put your saddles in, don't drill into the mortar to secure your fixing, always drill into the brick. Mortar tends to crack easily and won't last that long, whereas the brick, you know, is solid. Right, so let me drill these holes. Right, so now we've got some holes drilled in our brickwork. I like to do it normally every 6 to 7 bricks. We're going to grab our PVC saddles. We're going to unscrew one screw out of each bracket, and that'll just allow us to turn the bracket and fix it to the wall. We've then got our 7mm drill plugs and some little screws. Pop our wall plugs into the holes we just drilled. We're going to pop our screw into our saddle and fasten that with our impact driver in the vertical position so our pipe will clip over. Right, so we've put 3 or 4 saddles on, but before we go any further, we're going to want to put our termination box on our cable entry hole. So that's this little bugger here. We're going to need to drill 2 holes in here for the screws and 1 hole in the middle for your cable. So let's get this cover off. Like so. And then we're going to grab our strap drill bit, which is this one here. You can use a hole saw, probably a bit safer, or just use a normal drill piece just to drill a small hole in here. This can be a bit dodgy at times, so watch your fingers. And bang it straight in the middle. And there we have it. And then just a hole for the screws on either side. You can sort of see the perforation where you need to drill. Again, I'd recommend you use a normal drill piece for this, unless you want to take your hands off. So now we're going to grab our chalk marker pen. These are a brilliant bit of kit. It allows you to mark a hole onto a brick wall and drill. So let's jump over here to our cable entry hole. Make sure that the hole matches up with the cable hole. We're just going to mark our 2 screw holes, as you can see here, 1 and 2. So we can get those drilled now, get some wall plugs into it and screw our termination box onto there. Right, so now that our termination box is mounted and we've got a few saddles on the wall, let's grab our first piece of PVC piping. And we're just going to put it up to the saddles, push it into the termination box hole so it's nice and tight in there. And then we're going to clip our saddles over the pipe. So now we just need a couple more brackets towards this end of the pipe, and then we're going to need to use a coupler to join another piece of pipe onto this one, as it's not quite long enough. And then we'll need to drill a quick hole into the soffit. Right guys, just so you know, this is for demonstration purposes only. That's a reason why some saddles aren't perfectly spaced. I know it's affecting my OCD as well as yours. But now we've got our top saddle in up there, we can use our coupler to join another piece of pipe to that. Let's put that coupler on. I'm going to grab another piece of PVC pipe, and we're going to need our pipe cutters. Jump up the ladder. So simply pop your coupler on. And now we need to measure roughly how much pipe we're going to need to get up to the soffit. So I'm hitting the soffit board there. Our coupler comes to around here. If there's any extra PVC pipe, it can just tuck behind the soffit. It doesn't matter too much how much longer you make it. So I'm going to make it to about this line here. So then at least I know I've got enough PVC. So let's cut it here. So that should fit perfectly once we've got a hole drilled into our soffit. So let's jump up there and get a hole drilled in line with our PVC. Right, to drill our hole into our wooden soffit, we're going to need a normal hammer drill. We're going to need our 22mm hole saw. That'll fit the pipe perfectly. Right, now that's attached, let's jump up there and drill a hole. Right, so we know our PVC is on this mortar line here, so we need our hole to be roughly around this area here. Use the drill to sort of align it with the mortar line, and then we're just going to blast it through. Make sure you wear your safety specs, there's lots of wood dust. And that's that. So now we can get our final piece of PVC in. Right, so now our PVC hole is drilled in the soffit. We need to make a hole for the camera as well. There is already a hole up there, so I'm going to use that. But if you needed to drill a hole into the soffit, you would use one of these Holesaws, probably 40mm, would do the trick. So for me now, all I need to do is put that final piece of PVC in. I would obviously put some saddles onto the brickwork from that couple there, but as it's a demo, I'm not going to bother. So let's get that piece of PVC up. That should slot straight into that hole, like so, and into our coupler, like so. As you can see, it is wobbly, so that's why you would obviously put a couple more saddles in here. Right, so now let's get our cable box out. Right, so here I've got a 305m box of CAT5E External. All we're going to do is grab our end down here and push it all the way up from this termination box here. Until you feel some resistance, and the likelihood is that is the coupler that is resisting and it's catching on that bit of cable. So a little trick for you: before you put any cable into a PVC pipe with an end like this, just fold it over a tiny bit, and that creates a smooth surface for it to glide through the pipe. So once again, through our PVC, it should go straight through that coupler. As you can see, no resistance this time. And that should well be into our soffit. So let's jump back up there. Right, so now that we're at the top of the ladder, we're going to remove this piece of PVC by bending it. As you can see, it's got the cable in there. We're just going to pull that out. Obviously, because the camera's going here, we don't need much cable, but I would always leave a bit of slack just in case you ever need to sort of redo the connections. You don't want to not have enough cable. If you don't have enough cable, you're going to have to redo the whole job. So now to get the cable from here to here, this is all hollowed out up here. So you simply going to bend the cable in the direction you want it to go. Sort of like that. You're going to thread it in. And then you're going to pop your fingers in the hole up here. Feel around for the cable and out it pops. Like so. And then we're going to bend our PVC back in, pull that cable at the same time, in it goes. There's our cable, happy days. So now we can put our RJ45 connector on and mount our camera. Let's do that now then. To be fitting a HikVision IP camera like this, you'll have a weatherproof connection block. This weatherproofs your connection with the RJ45. Always remember to put this on. Just helps protect it against moisture or water or any leaks. This end goes on the camera, and the other end goes on the cable. You can put this on after you've done your RJ45 connection up there. As you can see up there, I've already done the connection. I'm then going to put this on afterwards. So Here's the connection. We're going to put this part on first, straight over, and then the rubber straight on, and the final part of the puzzle, like so, and then push that rubber in all the way, but then don't screw this on yet until you've got the camera up here. So let's go and grab our camera with 3 screws and our impact driver. Right, so we've got our camera here. First of all, we're going to put the connection in, like so. Clicks in, grab our weatherproof connection block, push it on, twist this part here until you can't push it any further, and then secure the top piece, and that'll compress that rubber against the cable, making it watertight. That'll do for demonstration purposes. Try and get it a bit tighter if you can. And then going to push our slack cable back into the soffit. Push our connection block in there. Watch out for any spiders. I'm not a fan of spiders. Make sure no cable gets trapped behind the camera. And now we're going to put our 3 screws in. You can see there's 3 screw holes on the camera. One there. And then just another 2 here. Once those screws are in, you can then position your camera to where you want it to be. And now before you go back down, what I would do is fix in that screw into your PVC saddles. If you're happy with everything that you've done, get the screw into here, secure it for each and every one. Once you've done all that, we're pretty much there. We're just going to cut our cable from the box here with our trusty snips. So I know that behind that wall is a TV unit, so I'm going to say 1.5 meters, maybe 2 meters of cable to be safe. So we're just going to pull 2 meters from our box, then we're going to cut the cable. And now we need to thread this cable through our drill hole. So this is where we're going to need our cable fishing rods. These are the handiest bit of kit for electricians alike. So these do attach together if you ever needed to create a longer sort of rod. Say if you were going to fish a cable into the loft, you can attach as many as you like. So here I'm going to push this rod in here. I'm going to tape our cable to the rod with a bit of duct tape. I'm going to apply the tape like this to the end. Now because the drill hole was so small, I can't really afford to put the cable in line with the rod, because the chances are it won't go through because the hole's not big enough. So what you need to do is put your cable to the end or the tip of the rod and tape it that way, so it's just a nice streamlined rod and cable. Make sure your tape is nice and tight. If it's too loose and you're pulling it, it could snap. But then again, you don't want too much tape either, otherwise then it might not go through the hole. So you're just going to push that through. You're going to go to the inside, you're going to pull it through, pull through all that excess cable, and then jobs are good in. So let's jump inside. Right guys, so that cable's just come through on this rod. what you want to do, bung a bit more silicone in here just to finish off the job nicely. And if you want to hide that hole, I'd recommend using one of these cable entries. You're going to pop this on before you put any connectors on your cable. Put it on the right way around, not like me. Thread it along. Just makes the overall job look a lot neater, much more professional. And look at that, isn't that just beautiful? So now that's everything done on the inside. You can put your RJ connectors on, you can label up your cables, get it plugged into your NVR, get it all set up. Right, now that's all done inside, we can then come back to the outside, give that a bit of a clean out. You're going to want to bung some silicone, weatherproof silicone in that hole there, just to stop any water ingress, any insects. Pour a load in there, and then put your fixing cap cover back over. Secure it, not too tight, because you will end up bending the plastic cover. Just do it until you feel a bit of resistance. Any tighter will deform the cover. Give it a bit of a rinse down with a hose pipe to get rid of any brick dust. But that's everything on the outside, all done. Right guys, I hope you've enjoyed today's video with the PVC piping and the camera on the soffit. Depending how well this video does, I might show you how to fit a camera like this one. No cables on show whatsoever. The cable goes straight into the wall cavity and up into the loft. I'll drop some links in the description for the cable rods. I know not many of you know these even existed, along with the marker pens, the Holesaws and the PVC accessories. That is everything guys. I hope you found this video useful. If you've got any questions, drop me a comment down below. Remember to leave a like and subscribe for more informative videos. Take care guys, bye bye.